We had a member that was on hospice. They were nonverbal and couldn't go to the bathroom themselves. The family wanted to try bringing them to us. We were reluctant, but we said we would. And within 10 days, that person was talking again and able to toilet themselves again. Without question, it's the connection that you make with the families. My wife and I sit in the lobby of our business every day of the week, and these families just become family to us, and it's become incredibly meaningful to us.
Welcome everyone to the Dementia Doc Podcast. And today we're having a fascinating guest, Michael Finn. He's the owner of Adult Daycare Center in Sarasota, Town Square Sarasota. And Michael, I was so looking forward to talking to you because I know your story starts in New York. You're a guy who works in media, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So you're in the midst of this high executive action in New York, and then you decide to change your life, pivot, and all of a sudden you run an adult daycare center. And when you speak about this, I think it was so moving how much it means to you.
Yeah,
so
it does.
take us back to New York. Why did you decide to do that? And how did you end up here?
Yeah, I chased New York. I got there in 1996, and I went to join some friends of mine that were already in the media business and were working at fun places like ESPN and things. And I went there and I found myself working at MTV Networks in Times Square. And I did 11 years there, and it was fantasy land. It was incredible. New York City had an amazing time, lots of music, a really fun industry with great friends there. And ultimately I did about 23 years in New York doing that. Ended up at Univision, was the last big media company that I worked for. And really what happened was kind of on the personal side, I met my wife late in life, and we ended up having a baby also very late in life. And, all of a sudden there we are with a 1 or 2 year old living. We had moved out to Connecticut to have the baby. I was commuting into Grand Central Station every day for work. And what was happening to the television industry was pretty profound with the launch of Netflix and Amazon, and TV was changing, and I was in the television advertising business. And I started to see friends getting laid off, and these businesses really start to change. And, I think I started to think to myself, can I keep this going for 16, 17 more years to get this kid to college? Is that realistic given kind of what's happening in the business that I'm in? So we started to talk about getting out of the city, maybe moving somewhere where family was, where we could have a bit of a support system, and becoming entrepreneurial, which led to probably about 6 to 8 months of looking at business opportunities and looking at small companies to buy and all sorts of things. And then one day, across my computer came this business, and a business broker, and said he wanted to talk to me. And it was Town Square, which ultimately was, it just kind of struck me. It's hard to explain. It definitely struck me as something I needed to look at. It was an adult daycare center based out in San Diego, California. They invited me to come out and visit. I did. I told my wife about it. I told Sherry about it and said, I think I need to go see this. And really the connection was back to my mom. My mom was almost 90 at the time, starting to develop dementia, was in a nursing home up in Syracuse, New York. And my mom was a singer and a choir director and an incredible musician. And I just had remembered when I was younger that she would sing at Christmas time in care homes. And she would always say, the folks I'm singing to maybe don't quite know where they are, what exactly is going on, but man, they know every word to every old song that she sings. And music just had this real powerful impact on these people. So when this business got pitched to me as reminiscence therapy, That's really kind of how they pitched it because it's a 1950s theme to it. I said, I understand what that is. I want to go look at it. And I saw the one at San Diego. And as soon as I saw that one out there operating with just an incredible mission and a very positive feeling place, I told Sherry, I think we're supposed to do this. And we came back and started making plans and started down that path.
Wow. I just think that not that many people expect to go from MTV and all of, that type of celebrity driven and fancy driven business to all of a sudden daycare center for adults and people with dementia. What is the most surprising thing about this for you? Like, I know how much you care about once it was more business decision, but also I hear some of the purpose that it gave you. But what was the biggest surprise once you started? What you did not expect and you really got connected to?
Oh, I mean, the without question, it's the connection that you make with the families. My wife and I sit in the lobby of our business every day of the week, and these families just become family to us, and it's become incredibly meaningful to us. We have almost 100 families signed up, and we go through a roller coaster of emotions every week in that lobby. We see some people in just terrible circumstances. They're at the breaking point in their life, and we're able to provide them some relief with what we've built, not just for their loved one, but for the caregiver themselves, and that endorphin rush you get by just knowing how much these people appreciate what you're doing, and they're not shy about saying, we don't know. We don't know where this came from, but it's made such an impact on our life. No one ever told me that in the media business. No one, we were selling airtime to McDonald's and Chrysler, and you just, you never thought about making an impact on someone's life like that. We were having a lot of fun, but now it's, you sleep really good at night because these families are altered by what we've done, and it makes us feel really, really wonderful. And I can't imagine us having gone down another road.
That is so beautiful because I think people can feel the meaning in your words and how much it has impacted you. But let's give a little bit of an overview. What is it that you actually built? Because I think some people may hear, well, okay, dementia daycare center. What does it actually mean?
Yeah, and I will say that I think the history of daycares was something a little different than kind of what we built. I think the history of daycares was something that was more nonprofit driven, maybe church driven. These weren't very high profile places. These were just kind of what was put together to try to provide some relief to families. But this center that we built, it's 12,000 square feet. It looks like a 1950s town on the inside. It's got a park in the middle, and a theater and a diner and a city hall and a library and game rooms and art rooms and craft rooms, and a 57 Thunderbird convertible sitting inside the front door when you walk in. And it looks incredible. Which is important because people do walk through that door and it immediately takes away some negative thoughts that they might have walked in with. Everybody, I wish you could just put a camera at the front door and watch people's faces when they walk in, because almost every single family says, "Oh, well, I want to go there." And almost every single potential member, they walk in the door and they see how bright and beautiful it is, and they see the car and they're like, "Oh, this could be great." It's something really special. But between you and me, at the end of the day, the reason they come back every day is not because it's beautiful. They come back every day because we've been fortunate enough to hire staff and build a culture that is just focused on the families. It is very positive feeling in there. The employees all love being there. It's meaningful to them. It has the same meaning, I think, to them as it does to me and Sherry. And the members feel that, we greet them at the curb every morning with hugs and kisses and bring them in, and they're, they love that. They love being appreciated and being remembered. Um, it's become something really special when people walk in, people visit and they're just like, we don't know how you've built this. It's really neat to think that it's something that's very visually stimulating. And then, combined with a care staff that, I think these caregivers that we have on staff have worked at other places where maybe the hours were incredibly demanding, right? They maybe had to work late at night or they had to work on the weekends and things. And here they found this place that is so incredibly impactful on our members and our families, but it's 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. So it's a very kind of nice, neat, uh, piece of time that they have to come and have impact to be able to go home. So we've been able to bring in incredible staff that are very dedicated and want to stay and love what's going on.
Which I think it's also thanks to you creating a certain culture. Because when I hear about dementia care, and I would think I at least exposed to something that you created. But if people hear somewhere and they never think about dementia care, they would think, what? I would never work there. That sounds just hard and not fun. But I know your place is very different. And I've been to your place many times. Even one of our improv teachers comes with improv sessions for your community. You have orchestra coming. It's so the opposite of what we usually envision. And I don't know how you managed to create a culture like that. Do you know? What's the advice?
Well, so I try and keep it very simple. What I learned in the media industry, and there were times in the media industry when I was responsible for a pretty big business. And there were, I once I went to work for Dish Network, which was based out in Denver, Colorado. And I had to go hire 100 people in just a few months. And we built offices in 4 different cities. And we had to build a team and a culture very fast, connecting everybody very quickly. I mean, I was fortunate enough to hire some really good friends of mine to do that with me. But, I rely on something today that I learned during all that, which is, customer and employees. Like that's the filter for everything that every decision that we make every day is this good for these families? Is this going to provide them relief? Is this what they're looking for? Well, we'll make that decision. And how is that going to impact the employees? And how do the employees feel every day? Are they appreciated? Do they feel like we communicate well with them? Are we transparent with them? And as long as I tackle those 2 things, that served me really well in the media business, and it serves me just as well as we build a business like this. Our employees, I think we sit down with them all the time and talk to them about what's going on and what we expect and how much impact they're having, and they love it. They love the transparency and communication, and our families are happy. We've adjusted the business a bunch of times because the families tell us what they need and we make those adjustments. So that's one piece. I think the other piece that you alluded to a little bit is we want the atmosphere there to be incredible. So we've created some really wonderful partnerships. I mean, not only are there bands every afternoon that come in and play, but we also have the Sarasota Orchestra that comes in. We have the Sarasota Ballet that comes in and does exercise. Yes, Will from the Florida Studio Theater comes in and does improv with everybody. The Key Chorale Choir partnership is amazing. They are a professional choir in Sarasota who've built a wonderful program to build a choir with all our members, and they're on site 24 weeks a year, which is mind blowing to me that they made that commitment to us. But I can see how much it means to Joseph Calkins, who's the maestro for them. It's so powerful when those music programs come together, and these folks who, could just be sitting at home staring at the TV for hours during the day are there singing with 50 people making incredible noise together. And what they pull out of that is incredible sense of accomplishment, a sense of purpose. Finding purpose when you're 85 years old and you have memory issues, that's not an easy thing to find, but it's pretty hard to find in your living room while you're watching TV. But if you have the ability to get to our place and participate in these programs, it's magical, honestly, to watch. There are a lot of tears shed at our place because you can see the impact that you have on these folks.
Ah, so good. So good. It makes me think of your mom who used to go and sing and see how
She never got
people.
to see it, which is very sad. I got to spend a lot of time with her, and I would come up and I would bring her videos, and I would show her pictures as we were building it, and she was so excited about it all. And I even tried to get her down at the end of her life, but she wasn't mobile, and we just couldn't really get her down. Um, but is very much built in her honor for sure. And it's why things like the Key Chorale Choir are so meaningful to me. And I honestly think I told him the story about my mom, and I think that's why it's such a good partnership, because he realizes how important it is to me and how much I know that music impacts these people's lives in such a profound way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If someone is listening and they may be considering, well, maybe I should give it a try, but I think my family member would not go to daycare center. It's just, no, it's not going to work for us. Do you have something to share with those people?
Well, first, it's what we hear every day. It's probably, I bet it's more than half of people think that that's the case. My mom, my dad, they'll never do this. They're not going to go to a daycare center. Um, and you know, what happens is, and sometimes, listen, sometimes the family's more of the obstacle than the actual member is, right? And I think, that some of that can be very complicated as a caregiver. This is somebody that, if it's a child taking care of a parent, there are very complicated caregiver dynamics that are going on. This is someone that gave you direction for 50 years, and now you're the caregiver, and they're very complicated relationships. And I think just the terminology behind some of this stuff is hard for people to grasp. But once they come in and tour with us, it almost always is a positive result. I mean, they really love to see that there's energy, there's a lot of people there, there's lots of groups. We group them cognitively. So people that are newly diagnosed aren't spending the day with someone that's very far along on their journey. We're able to kind of create these different environments where people can thrive, in the best way. And, they're, what will happen is we then give someone a free guest day, and they'll come and they'll spend an afternoon with us, and we'll make sure there's going to be a band there. They're going to have a great experience. And we tell the family right off the bat, hey, for the first couple times they come, there could be some reluctance because they have short-term memory issues, probably, and they're spending all their time in the living room at their house. And if you ask them, do you just want to stay in the living room? They're going to say yes every time, because it's what they know and it's what they're comfortable with. And they don't quite remember what our place was. They may have been there once or twice, but they don't remember. But we tell every family the same thing. You got to be encouraging for the first 2, 3, 4 times. Encourage them. Tell them whatever you can to get them there, because the magic will happen once they've come 4 or 5 times. It's magic. It really is. Once it becomes routine, and they understand that when as soon as they see the building, they're like, oh, I remember this place. I remember Sherry and Michael at the front desk. They're really nice. I remember that everybody pays attention to me. I remember that the food is good. I remember that the music is there. That stuff does start to kick in once there's some consistency to it all, even for people that have, very short memories. There are vibes that they take out of the place that are important, and they get there. I mean, we've had so many stories of people that come in, and the first month is just, the spouse will say, oh my gosh, he's really fighting me to come back, really fighting me to come back. And we just concentrate so hard on making sure they have a wonderful experience. And then one day, we will get these calls, and they'll say, so we couldn't find mom today. We were really worried we couldn't find her. And, oh, we found her. She had dressed herself and she was sitting in the car waiting to drive to Town Square, and then, it's just such a home run for us and for the family, because now they're off to the races. And then a week later, they're asking for more days of the week. And because their loved one is asking for it. And we have families that drive by on Saturday and Sunday when we're closed, just to show their loved ones that we're closed, because they're asking to go. I made the mistake of sitting at the front desk and doing billing work on the weekend. And I waved at somebody that drove by, and I shouldn't have done that because they were showing them that we were closed. But it gets to be so meaningful for these people that find themselves in the routine, and at the same time, as the caregiver is getting a break that is just, we say it's as big a piece of the puzzle as it is taking care of that member. That caregiver, a lot of times when they first come to us, is really in distress as well.
Yeah, yeah. And what is the biggest change in people do you see? Like, for example, they were not coming to your place, and here's their cognitive status, or that's how they do. And then they begin to come to your place, and all of a sudden, what is the change that you see?
Well, the families a lot of times would just say, well, they're so thrilled that, for one, when they come out of our place, that they have a giant smile on their face, and they're talking about how great it was. So that's an amazing thing, to really just get a moment where there's just pure joy, and they can see that they're very happy, because they might not be getting a lot of those moments. And they also talk about, so we've had people come through that are, let's say, further along on their journey, and the husband takes care of the wife, and he said, I can't really have a discussion with her on the drive to Town Square in the morning, but on the way home, she will talk the whole way. Because the brain just kind of gets turned on, when they're in there. There's people all around them. There's classes going on. There's an art class, followed by some music, followed by, social time. And then all of a sudden they come out, and they're talkative, and it's why people wish sometimes that we were open 7 days a week, because it does have a big impact on folks. We had a member within the first 6 months that we were open that came to us that was on hospice. They were nonverbal and couldn't go to the bathroom themselves. The family wanted to try bringing them to us. We were reluctant, but we said we would. And within 10 days, that person was talking again and able to toilet themselves again. And listen, that's not magic. That's engagement. They were unengaged at home. Somebody was taking care of them, and all of a sudden they came to our place, and they wanted to participate. There was socialization opportunities all around them. They wanted to talk again. And, those moments are incredible.
I think your place is such a proof of the idea that social connections, they're such a big part of health. It's not that you need to exercise is better and engage your brain in difficult tasks, but even if you sit on the couch by yourself doing crossword puzzles, the effect would not be the same as you're actually engaged. Do you see your family members making friends, especially someone with dementia coming in? Do you see them making new friends at your place?
Oh my God. All of them. When they come in the morning, they all meet up in the diner, and, their tables of 4, and we seat them. We try and seat them appropriately with people that are probably going to be, good matches for them. And they're all making friends, and some of them have, short-term memories that are literally 10 or 15 minutes, but it doesn't matter if you're seeing those people consistently all the time. There's something in your brain is going to tell you that you have a connection to that person. And they do. It's wonderful. You see them walking around, holding each other's hands, watching out for each other, taking care of each other. We have people there that are, we have real volunteers that come in, which is another subject and a lovely thing that happens at our place. But we have people that come in, because maybe they're reluctant the first time and we ask them if they want to help out and be volunteers. So they come in and have a volunteer name tag on. Um, and they're there and they're taking care of people and they have their own dementia that they're dealing with. But, maybe they're an ex-school teacher or someone and that just, it hits them the right way. And they're walking around holding people's hands and helping people get around and things. It's really, it's powerful and moving to kind of see what goes on. No one sits alone. It doesn't happen. We have a lot of staff there. We're always going to make sure people are finding their way back. And if someone's overwhelmed that day and they don't want to be in with the music and they just want to sit out in the park on a park bench, we're going to have one of our staff members go out there and sit with them and talk to them and, do whatever they can to kind of make them, feel good, even though they might not want to be in the middle of the action right at that moment.
Yeah, that just sounds almost like a fairy tale, but I've been to your place, so I know that it exists.
Well, so I don't have any experience. So I don't know what else there was. I hear from family members kind of what some of the options have been in their life, but I didn't really know. And we do have probably 10 to 12 volunteers that come to our place right now every week. They all come and they do a couple hours because they just want to be part of what's happening. We have a couple nurse practitioners that are coming, they just want to, they heard what was happening. They came in, they saw it, and they just want to they just want to be there and kind of see what a really positive atmosphere feels like and how much impact it can have, and to see all those people laughing and smiling and singing. And those are endorphin rushes, right? That people chase. People want to see that because it makes us feel so good. It makes our volunteers feel so good that they're begging to come there and do that with us. And that's not something that we ever planned on. That was an incredible surprise, but it's nice that we're having that rub off on people in ways that we never knew that we might.
Yeah, it sounds like a business with a big heart.
Well, yeah, no, listen, having 7 extra volunteers when one day you might have someone call in sick on your staff but you have 2 volunteers that day that are, able to kind of sit with a member that might be just having a bad day and sit with them for 2 hours and maybe play a game with them or draw with them or just talk to them and pay attention. It's a very nice thing that's been able to happen.
I heard you once mentioning about 3 pillars that your business is built on. Can you define them? And I think we touched upon 2 and add about the 3rd one.
Yeah. So we talked about the engagement part, which is all the activities and things that happen at our place that is so important for everyone. The socialization piece is just off the charts and how important it is for people. But the care on site is something that surprises our families as well. We've built an incredible kind of network of care inside our place. We have 3 nurses on staff at our place. A nurse runs the entire place for us. There's PT, OT, and speech therapies that happen every day at our place. Dr. Miguel Rivera, who you know very well, joins us once a month at our place to help families that are in need, whether that person's struggling at Town Square or struggling at home. He's able to step in and maybe provide some relief to them. We have a podiatrist on site now. We do urinalysis on site and can catch UTIs. We do blood draws. We have x-rays in there every week. It's kind of, we never pictured having all those services at our place, but we do now, and we have them because families need them. We did not start out with all that stuff. Those services all grew because our families were getting UTIs every week. They did need chest x-rays when they come in. For sure, having a dementia doctor there once a month that they can interact with and ask questions of is incredibly important. So the care services that we've been able to build into our place are, now you can't think about how you would do it without that, but it's definitely not what people think about when they think about taking their loved one to an adult day center. they wouldn't think that all those services are there. But what it gives them is um, an opportunity to have so many things taken care of at our place, so they have less appointments that they have to go to during their week. To just take in a loved one to, to a podiatrist or something like that during the week is just more stress on them to have to take somewhere, and confusing for their loved one. But for us to do all those services right on site in a really positive feeling atmosphere, it's wonderful for all parties involved. It's great.
Yeah, amazing. It's also how much, as you mentioned, for caregivers, it's one stop where everything can be taken care of. And now they can have a few hours to take care of themselves,
Yeah.
which in this podcast we often point to because it's so important. It's so stressful. So amazing. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Absolutely. I think we can discuss this topic with you forever. And I hope you will be on our podcast in future again.
Of course.
But to conclude, I like to ask these questions. There's one question that people who encounter dementia, how does that change your outlook on your own life, aging, purpose? When you see these families, you have experience with your mom, did it make you reevaluate something in your life?
Yeah, we just talked about kind of social connection. It's such a critical piece. I think I value my friendships more than ever. I value seeing my family more than ever. You just want to, yeah. I try not to be. We're all busy, and I feel swamped all the time. But I don't want that to ever get in the way of making that phone call that I know I should, or sending that note that I know I should. And um, I cherish all those moments kind of a little bit more right now. I think in the media business, I was also very caught up, and I didn't kind of spend the time. I kind of lost some connections there through time, but I find myself kind of repairing a lot of those things now where I am because you know, family, the social connection, all these things are so powerful, and it's what life is all about. And um, I cherish it all so much, and that's really what I think about, as well as um, trying to be as healthy as I can be and exercise and kind of do all these things. Like I see even on you see the dementia side, which kind of humbles you, but then you also see the physical side, and it makes it very clear that we all need to be very focused on kind of how we live that last third of our life, and eating well and exercising and doing all these positive things, that it does have impact on us. So it's important.
Well, thank you for being our friend. We appreciate all the time we get to spend with you and Sherry and your beautiful family. And thank you for being here, Michael.
Of course.
And we'll see you again.
Thank you for having me.